Okay, so we are now recording. And now, when I do webinars, share the screen. Thank you, John. I've been working a little too hard lately, which means that I'm just crazy, making stupid jokes. My family's about to wring my neck, but we got some major cool stuff coming out with social mobile platform. Kyle has loaded up our new templates, and I've been building sites with those and, finding a few little buggy issues here and there. Nothing that our resident genius Kyle can't solve, but just kind of, putting everything through its paces and also shooting some videos so that I can show people, we have people of all kinds of levels of expertise, so show people how to do this, how to use it, give them some ideas, etc. And then doing this webinar. So today's a pretty busy day. But anyway, cool. 3 things for 2013. Let's get the slideshow rolling. I'm sharing my screen. John, can you see me now? Cool. I'm recording. I'm good to go. 3 things for 2013. And I'm a little off the wall today. Like I was saying, I've been working a little too hard, honestly. I'm a little off the wall. So if this seems like Lee drank way too many cups of coffee, Lee probably did drink way too many cups of coffee. Do these 3 things and thrive. Don't do them, and there's no real answer to that. I also put this together in the middle of the night last night after I'd finished all the other stuff. So I'm not vouching for the spelling. I can't spell anyway. It's like in the movie City Slickers. Anybody on the call ever see that movie, City Slickers? Billy Crystal, I can't remember the other guy's name, but in the movie his name was Curly. These guys from New York City want to have some, quality man time and stuff like that. So they go out west to a dude ranch and they learn about life, quote unquote. That's City Slickers. But anyway, there's this really funny, and there may have been more than one. This is like a 20-year-old movie. There may have been more than one City Slickers. But this really funny point when Curly, who's this actor, whose name escapes me, he's a big-time actor, he tells Billy Crystal the secret to life, except he says, well, there's just one thing. And then he rides off. And it's really hilarious the way Billy Crystal takes that. It's like, well, wait a minute, dude, you were going to tell me the secret to life, and then you rode off. And then Curly, I guess, took that secret with him to the grave. I don't have the secret to life, but I think I've got it pretty well figured out how to make good money. Good money for me is, I don't know about you guys. If I was making $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and look, I spent most of my life making money like that. Okay, so I'm not dissing that at all. I was a school teacher for 10 years and then did a bunch of other stuff before that, yada, yada, yada. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. You put husband and wife together making $4,000 a month, you got $8,000 a month, and that's $96,000 a year. Yeah, that's money to be comfortable with. It's not. Over 20 years, managing money right, you'll be moderately wealthy if you manage your money right. Most people don't. But if the water heater breaks, you're not going to have a cow unless, you've done stupid stuff like you got $50,000 in credit card debt. But, the bottom line is what I'm talking about is not quite as earth-shattering as what Curly was talking about. But I am talking about how to get up to a good income with offline marketing fairly rapidly. Okay. We have 3 things, though, not 2 things. And the reason, not one thing like Curly did. And the reason we have 3 things is because these 3 things correspond to the 3 parts of an offline business, which are prospecting, going out and finding people who might be interested in what you're selling, actually selling it to them, which turns out to be the easiest part if you do the prospecting right, and then fulfilling. Giving them what they bought, okay? You can do that in a bunch of different ways, but I'm going to talk about massively simplifying this whole thing. I got one more movie analogy. See, I told you I did this in the middle of the night last night. I was crazy. One more movie analogy. Who recognizes this guy from the movies? This was from a movie. It was kind of a kid's movie from 10 years ago or so. I have teenagers now. I think they looked at that movie when they were like 4, 5, 6, something like that. So if you're not into the kid thing now, Inspector Gadget, totally. Yes, I love Inspector Gadget. And good job. Now, somebody, it looks like John's going to be the designated somebody. Somebody tell me, why would I put Inspector Gadget into a serious webinar about making money selling offline services to businesses? Somebody let me know that. Hey, Scott, welcome to the webinar. Well, let's see if somebody else wants to chime in. Anybody else remember Inspector Gadget? I tried to find some more pictures of Inspector Gadget. There are a bunch of them, but none of them are very explanatory. Inspector Gadget, basically, if I remember the movie correctly, he got killed or almost killed or something like that, and they brought him back to life. And then he was like half human, half cyborg. And the thing was, he had all of these gadgets attached to him. Okay, I actually remember Inspector Gadget because it was a toy that you got at McDonald's through the drive-thru for a while. And he's got like this giant gun that pops out of his back, and he's got all this stuff that pops out of his, fingers and arms and stuff like that. And the thing is, Inspector Gadget can solve any problem because he is got multiple tools to do that. He has a gadget for each problem. But it turns out in the movie and in real life, that's a problem for him because he ends up just tripping up all over himself. And a lot of us, when we get into offline marketing, especially because we are receiving all these marketing messages from other people, me included, who say you need to be selling SMS, you need to be selling mobile websites, you need to be selling directory listings, you need to be selling your own offline directory thing, you need to be cold calling, you need to be going to network meetings, you need to be doing yada, 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 yada. And it's kind of like you get to be like, if you're not careful, you get to be like Inspector Gadget, where when you're talking with a business owner, it's kind of like, and especially when you have 0 to, I kind of think of it as 0 to 10 sales under your belt, okay? That's when you're really new. It's kind of like if you get in front of a business owner, you really just, you want desperately for someone to give you some cash, because that does two things. That puts money in the bank, and also because that validates you and what you're doing. It tells you, it's the outside world telling you two things. One, yes, this does work, and two, yes, you can do it. You can be successful at it. So that is extremely important to have your first 1 or 2 or 3 up to 10 or so business owners actually nod yes and hand you money. It's massively important. But the problem is we can get in, and I went through this too when I first started, we can get into this thing of where you're just basically saying, what do you want? Oh, you want me to build your website? Well, let me look at your, oh yeah, cool, I can do that. Oh, you need Google Places? Yeah, I can do that. Oh, you want to, rank your website for the word fish? Sure, I can do that. That would be impossible to do, by the way, but, I mean, it gets to where you just want you want validation, you want cash, you want to watch success happen so fast that you get into this thing of, oh, SMS marketing, sure, I have no clues how to do it. I'm going to have to go buy that platform somebody told me about, but yeah, I can handle that. And so you get into this thing where you become an Inspector Gadget. And the problem with becoming an Inspector Gadget is this: too much complexity. I recently hired a business consultant. I'm taking a sip of iced tea, so hang on a second. AJ and I recently hired a business consultant for our business, just somebody to help us with stuff. And we were talking about different things, and this exact same idea came up within our, like we're doing all these plugins and all this stuff now, with our business of selling plugins. And, one thing that the business consultant was talking to us about was taking what we were naturally kind of moving in the direction of doing anyway, massively simplifying it. Well, that works in any business. I mean, if you really look at the way real businesses work, anything from mom and pop Exxon station on the corner to massive businesses like IBM. When it really gets down to the product, it's actually very simple. Okay, I mean, there are very few businesses selling like total Inspector Gadget. There are a few of them, but there are very few businesses selling like total Inspector Gadget type. Let me just walk in and so I've got all this stuff I can sell you, and we'll just come up with all Chinese menu stuff, and then you pick and choose, et cetera, et cetera. You can do offline marketing that way. I actually did that for quite a while and was successful at it. It's just much harder to get traction than if you do what I'm going to tell you today. Okay, so the Inspector Gadget problem is the problem of too much complexity. Simplicity is the path to wealth, or if not that, at least the path to a good income. The path to wealth is making more money than you spend. But anyway, that's a different topic. Okay, the three things. Let's take a look at them. This is so incredibly important. I mean, I could just stop here, and if you would actually listen to me and actually do this next year, it would revolutionize your business. Choose one thing to sell. Now, you probably kind of figured I was going to say that because I kept talking about the mobile, the directory listings, the SMS, yada, yada. And don't be an Inspector Gadget. But you need to choose one thing to sell, okay? Especially if you're in the 0 to 10 deals range. Now, if you get to where you're swinging with one thing, we'll talk about some possible one things for you in a sec. But if you get to where you're swinging with one thing, then you need to add an upsell, okay, which is a bundle of 2 or 3 related things. So you could start out with a mobile website. You could upsell social media and directory listings. Okay, those and video rankings. Those all 4 actually go together extremely well. But when you're starting, I'm saying forget the other 3. Forget the directory listings, the video rankings, and whatever else I said, and just focus on getting a mobile website solved. It doesn't have to be a mobile website. I'm just using that as an example. So, like I said, maybe later you can have an upsell. You should have an upsell later because half the time I take a $500 sale and turn it into a $1,500 sale. I mean, do the math. That's times 3. That's the same work times 3. So that's like taking whatever your income would have been, and I don't do that all the time. I'm saying I do that about half the time. So it'd be kind of like taking what my income would have been and, you know, adding like 2/3 to that, right? Something on that order. So in other words, that's massive, okay? But again, I think people get remarkably confused and remarkably frustrated trying to be the Inspector Gadget when it'd be so much easier for you if you would just choose one thing and don't sell anything else. We're going to talk about how to do it. So choose one thing, don't sell anything else until you've sold 10 of that one thing, until you've got that down to where you totally understand that, and then move into building an upsell for that one thing. Good one things to sell, mobile websites, businesses are just snapping those up. They finally figured out that this really works, that they really need it. As I prospect in my own business, I'm seeing more and more businesses already have mobile websites. There's still massive numbers of them out there who don't. So this is in no way overwhelmed. This is just starting. But mobile websites, a great one thing to sell because you can sell a mobile website according to who you're selling it to. $300, $400, $500. If you want to get really fancy, you can push it up to $1,000. But if you're really starting and you don't have those 10 things under your belt, I would keep it down to almost down to the no-brainer price of, yeah, I'll pay you $400 for that. That looks really cool. I can see how that would help my business. And if you price it right, then you get that under your belt. You get 10 of those done. Massive things will happen to your head about how you understand the business by the time you get 10 deals done. Other stuff, this is where I missed writing this down just because I think I just ran out of gas last night is what happened, but in my head. Other good things right now for you to sell. Google Places. you don't hear a lot, like in the Warrior Forum and stuff. Google Places is not cool. It's not snazzy. It doesn't, people don't get all lit up when they think about it. But I tell you something, Google Places plus other directory listings is a fabulous thing to sell. There are a massive number of businesses who still do not have their basic stuff even claimed. And I'm not telling them that you're going to get them on page 1 of the Google box. You don't have to do that. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of avoiding SEO right now as I see what happens with Google and rankings, except SEO for videos. I do a lot of that. But I'm talking about SEO for somebody's website. But you don't have to sell somebody on the fact that you're on the promise of getting their Google Places listing on page 1 at all. All you got to do is sell them on the fact that, look, your Google Places listing is not claimed. It's got no pictures. It's got no videos. It's got no description. It's got nothing. I do that. Okay, I'm an expert at doing that. I'll show you another cool thing. Let's drop out of this presentation for a sec. I think. Here we go. This website, getlisted.org, this is really cool. Recently, as a bonus for something else, I had shot a couple of videos about how I use this to do what I call online audits for businesses. In other words, be able to tell the business owner of what, where they are in terms of directories. But this is really cool. And I just use this as an example. I was actually using Savannah Tire Company in Savannah, Georgia, basing one of these example mobile websites I was making before this call. So that's why that's here. This is not a client of mine. But anyway, if you'll take a business name and the zip code that the business is in and pop it in there, it takes a couple of seconds. More than a couple of seconds. And see, bam, right there. That is so cool. This is so, honestly, every time I do this, copy this, either put it in a PDF and email it to the business owner if it's somebody I'm meeting in person, just, print it out. I got a color printer, so this I would print out in color. The colors look good. You don't have to have a color printer. I think it would work better. But every time I do this, this is a powerful, powerful sales graphic right here. And every time I do this, I can easily sell a business owner on letting me claim the rest of these. Some of these are paid when you get down here. Hot Fog, I think, is paid. I just explained that to them. Some of them are pains in the neck to claim, like Yellow Pages. But, with the caveat that some of them are paid, some of them are pains in the neck. If you show somebody this, Foursquare, that's pretty easy to do. Yelp, that's pretty easy to do. Obviously, Bing. You show somebody this. I mean, you're looking at several $100s of work right there. I would charge a business easy, according to the business, $600, $800, something on that order, just to claim all this stuff, and to write, to write something sensible in each of these, where appropriate, to upload the same sensible 2 or 3 or 4 pictures plus a couple of videos if they have them. If they don't have them, I'm charging them more, and if I got to put it on YouTube, I'm charging them more for that. But see, this right here, this one thing, just going out to businesses, this one thing, that is a great one thing for you to sell. It doesn't have to be a mobile website. It could be this one thing. Let's go back to the presentation. Move around this box, and let's see if I can get this baby going again. So step number 1, choose one thing to sell until you get 10 of these things under your belt, and then you can very carefully branch out. This is so incredible. Hey, Arthur, you're from Cape Town. Awesome. Thing number 2, choose one way to sell that one thing, okay? So obviously I'm massively trying to simplify this for you. choose one. So we've chosen one thing to sell, and I've given you some examples for you. And you just got to work that in with what you like, the tools that you already have. I mean, if you've got my mobile website, social mobile platform or something like that, you might want to go for mobile websites. If you don't, that's cool. You might want to go for directory listings, but choose one thing to sell. Well, and don't make it something that you have to educate a business owner about. That one thing needs to be something that your audience in general, not everybody, but at least 30% of them already know they want. They just don't necessarily know how to get it. Okay, so don't go into the education thing. That's a good way to go broad. So choose one common sense thing to sell and choose one way to sell it. I'm going to talk about 4 different ways of selling stuff, 3 of which I like, one of which gives me the hives. You could probably already figure out which one gives me the hives. Email with or without video. I love email. And with, if you're doing this yourself, and I'm trying to gear this so that I'm hitting all of you guys at all different levels of expertise and cash in the bank too, okay? If you got a little money and you want to automate some of this or outsource some of this, then you can up the numbers here. You probably could dispense with the video. The video would be maybe a video of that getlisted.org. That would make a killer video, just like you shooting a video screenshot, a screen video capture of you talking about getlisted.org. Well, you don't have Bing and you don't have this and you don't have this. But that's what I do, and then show them a business that you've done or a business you haven't done for that matter. You could just say, this is what this needs to look like. Okay? Shoot emails out like that. People will call you back. You'll get a few deals selling that one thing. Okay? If you're selling a mobile website, show them, get a mobile website emulator. Opera mobile emulator, or I think the one that Kyle turned me onto a new one recently called Mobilizer. Mobilizer, I'll put that in the chat. Both of those work really well. Kyle actually likes Mobilizer a little better than Opera. I think he might be right. Just take a screenshot of, that, put it on an email, send it out. Yeah, Mobilizer works really well. Just, shoot that out to businesses. Cold calling. Cold calling was what I did when I started because I didn't know how to do this stuff, but I had years and years ago sold real estate and built a very nice business through cold calling. So that was a very natural thing for me to just pull out those cold calling skills. Cold calling is really, really simple. I mean, if you're selling mobile websites, you might just want to call up different businesses and say something. I'm doing this off the top of my head. Something like, hi, I'm Lee Cole with XYZ Company. I saw that you don't have a mobile optimized website. Now, when you're talking to someone about something that they may not understand right off the top of their heads, when I was selling real estate, this was back in the 1980s before the do not call list. Okay, so you could actually just sit in your office and call people, and it wasn't against the law. And so I would call 200 people a day, and I would just say, hi, I'm Lee Cole with RE/MAX. I was wondering if you're interested in selling your house. Most people say no. Every now and then some, well, yeah, I actually thought about it. And then I had a set of questions I asked them, like, how long have you lived there? Where would you move to if you sold it? And these were all very innocuous sounding questions, but they all led up to closing for an appointment. And every now and then I would get an appointment. And most times I'd just get a name of an interested person and a phone number, and I'd put that in a little database that I had. And yeah, we had computers back then. And built a whole business that way. You could do the same thing with cold calling for mobile websites, except because you're talking about something that's a little more abstract, you would need to do something like the following. I'm going to tell you exactly what to say. I hope you're taking notes. Hi, this is Lee Cole with XYZ Company. Looked at your website on my phone and couldn't read it. I actually sell mobile-friendly websites. Would you mind if I sent you some information about these? I'm not trying to sell you anything today, just want to help you out. And this, 80% of people will say yes, if not just to shut you up. And then you say, well, who should I send this to? Would you rather me email it or regular mail? Great. I'll pop it in the mail to you today, or I'll email it to you today. And what you're going to, hang on, Arthur. I see. I just want to finish this thought. I think you can have a great thing that you're saying there. But basically what you want to do is you're getting a name and an email address. That's basically what you're doing. You're getting a name and an email address and really starting to build a relationship. And you can build an entire business out of that one thing. Just don't be Inspector Gadget. And, when you actually do get the decision maker or the decision maker secretary, whomever on the phone, don't just, fall all over yourself and say, well, what would you like? And I can do any of 25 things for you. I'm saying sell one thing. Okay, we're here to sell your mobile website. And then just, if you don't have 10 deals, then just drop it at that. Sell them the mobile website or don't sell them the mobile website. Once you sell them the mobile website, get it done, move on, sell 9 more mobile websites, and then you can start using that getlisted.org thing that I told you about, and then you can start bundling, putting together other stuff as an upsell from that. So Arkard says, I tried a great method to open the door last week and this week. Can you help me with some? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you can do that on the phone, or you can actually walk indoors. I live in Atlanta, which is a really huge city with major traffic problems, and when I very first started, I actually got in my car and just went out and knocked on doors. That made sense to me. I am, by almost to a fault, I'm an action taker. My general MO is to take a lot of action and then get back and see what happened. That actually works, but in this case, I ended up walking into a bunch of dentist's office, but it took so long to get from one to the other that I decided I would use the telephone, that would be better, and that worked. So email, cold calling, direct mail, high-end direct mail, like with a lot of the products that AJ and I sold last year, and we're going to be re-releasing a lot of this stuff and refurbishing it, tying it together with plugins that we're doing, et cetera, this year, but that works like gangbusters. FedEx, buy those little bank bags, buy those little bank bags and put your letter in there, stuff like that, pop it in the mail. You just create a little assembly line of doing this. The one that gives me the hives, although it does work, I never could make this work, honestly, because I couldn't stand to do it long enough to make it work. With these little network meetup meetings, and this is just a personal problem of mine. I can't stand to chit-chat. It honestly gives me the hives. It makes me just almost want to just crawl out of my skin. I cannot stand idle talk. So I went to a few network meetings when I first started long ago, and they just about killed me. Also, you have to eat weird stuff that other people fix and stuff like that. It's just like, I don't know. I'm a little compulsive, so that didn't fit well with my personality. However, I do personally know people who just kill it at network meetings, and I would treat it, if it weren't, this is a personal problem that I have with network meetings, okay? So I'm not trying to give you this personal problem. But if somebody walked up to me and said, hey, Lee, I really want to kill it with network meetings, how would you do that? I would treat it just like a cold call. I would have a giveaway to give people. In a network meeting, you stand up, you have like 15 seconds to announce who you are, and you got your business card, and everybody spreads the business card all around the table, and you would take each other's business cards and all this stuff, right? I would go one better. I would have a report, an envelope. If you really, really wanted to stand out, I would get some PLR material, and I would write, quote unquote, a book. I would put PLR material together. I would put it together in a book. You can upload it to a place like Lulu, LULU.com. My first information product that I ever created like years and years ago was a book at Lulu and did very well. But Lulu.com, print 20 of them. They'll mail them to you, or just take it down to the printer where you live and print them. But make it look like a real book, and then I would hand those out. Okay, and the book would be something like something generic, something like how small business can leverage the internet, or something like that. That would be the way to do a network meeting. You have a picture of you on the back, phone number, business name, address, the whole 9 yards. So it's like a giant business card. That right there, that was almost a WSO, just the last 2 minutes of me talking. That would work it. I can't do that because I can't stand, I just can't deal with it. But for someone who's a little less weird than I am, that would work. That would be a killer way to really leverage a network. So I want you to choose. Okay, I'm talking to 1 or 2 people. I'm talking to the person who's struggling and is not getting consistent traction. Traction to me means that you've got a thing that you do. It's working, kind of, sort of. In other words, you're getting paid money for it. You would probably like it to work better, but at least you have a pattern that you can repeat and it works, and you have a pattern that you can tweak and massage and make it work better. That's traction. I'm assuming I got 2 groups of people, and call people who don't have traction and people who've got pretty good traction. If you don't have any traction, I'm telling you how to get traction. Okay? If you got pretty good traction, I'm telling you how to add another income stream very easily to what you're currently doing. I'm not. If you're doing well or you feel like you're headed toward doing well, I'm not saying change everything and do this. What I am saying is this is a really, really easy, extremely laser-focused way of diverting another stream into your river so that your river gets bigger. Okay? So, choose one of these. How many? Uno, just one. Choose one of those. So at this point, when you're thinking through this, you want to have one thing to sell. I sell mobile websites. I sell directory listings, claiming directory listings and, fixing them up. I sell Google Places. I sell SMS. I sell video rankings, okay? Or I sell videos. I'll sell you 5 videos about your business for 5 of the top keywords. New YouTube channel, 5 videos. You can actually still promise to get those on page 1. I'll get the majority of those on page 1 for you. I'm going to charge you $600 up front, and let's say a couple $100 a month to keep them on page 1 once they're there. So you sell one thing, and you sell one thing one way. Now, this is the last thing that you do, and this is kind of sort of gets into the selling one thing, but I told you I used to sell real estate like this is 20 years ago, God, and I sold resales, but I also worked in new construction. And in new construction, you basically have 2 different kinds of builders. You have custom home builders and tract home builders. Tract home builders are guys that come into a development. There are 3 floor plans. You can have any one you want as long as it's the 3. And the only difference is we're going to put your garage on the right-hand side instead of your neighbor's, which is on the left-hand side. That's a tract home builder. Custom home builder is where you sit down with endless, meaningless meetings with the husband and wife and figure out what kind of wood you're going to make the stupid banister from going up the staircase. That's a custom home builder, okay? You want to be the tract home builder. Inspector Gadget is the custom home builder, okay? Who knows this guy? I'm going to give $5 the first person who knows this guy. You're not going to know him personally. He's dead. Who knows who this guy is? Come on, Ockert. I don't have that many people on the call. Like I said, the winners are on this call. $5 to the person who can identify this person for me. Ockert's mind is racing. I love that. Well, that's kind of getting you a little close to who this is. He's not a race car driver. Obviously, he's older. He's an American. He's massively famous. I'm going to count to 5. If nobody gets it, I get to keep my money. 1, 2, 3. It's not Napoleon Hill. I wish it were. 4. But actually, Ockert, Napoleon Hill actually knew him personally. Does that help? But it's not Andrew Carnegie. Yeah, sorry, John. It's not Andrew Carnegie. It's what, but it's that group. I'm trying so hard to give away $5. Where am I? 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.5, 4.8. I don't think we're going to get it. I think I get to keep my $5. Henry Ford. Oh, so close, John, so close. Henry Ford. Now, why am I talking about Henry Ford when I'm basically in this webinar, we're talking about massive simplification. So this is what Henry Ford was. He was not the first person to, build a car, obviously, but he was the person who put the building of cars on an assembly line. That massively reduced costs, and it allowed prices to, be low. And it allowed cars to start being something that maybe not your average person, but a whole lot of people could buy. You didn't have to be super rich to buy a car after Henry Ford. And he's famous for saying something really, really cool. He said, they can have any color they want, as long as it's black. Here's his car, Model T. They were all always the same color. You see, it wasn't because he lacked color imagination or anything like that. It's because in order to get cars on an assembly line, it's the first time that I've been done, to my knowledge, but or at least with that much success, in order to get cars on an assembly line to where he could start massively pumping out cheap transportation, he had to dramatically reduce the number of variables. And that's what you and I are talking about today. We're talking about on a smaller scale, but still very important to you, massively reducing the number of variables in your business. And I think I just answered that question. See, the deal is if you'll simplify things down to a minimum number of moving parts, this is going to start working for you, okay? If you will, I know so many of you, because I went through this too when I first started, think, well, I'll sell mobile. And then you kind of get a little sales resistance in mobile, or just not working, or, well, I guess mobile's not it. I'll do SMS. And then you get a little sales resistance SMS, and then somebody comes up with some build your own directory, and businesses can pay you $10 a piece to be in the directory, and you can have a massive passive income like that. Well, I'll do that. All of these things work. All of these things work. Okay, all this stuff works. That's the problem, but it just doesn't work immediately. That's the other problem. But if you will dramatically reduce the number of variables, I'm talking about massively reduce them, okay, to one thing. I sell one thing. I sell mobile websites, period, end of conversation. Furthermore, not only do I sell mobile websites, but I sell these 4 mobile websites, okay, or these 6 mobile websites. Like if you had, one of those Squeeze Mobi themes, which were nice. I think they had about 6 sites in there. So I sell these 6. And, oh, you want this and that and mix it up and take this out. I wish I could do that for you. Unfortunately, we don't do that. I just sell these 6. So you got to have the guts to turn down a deal every once in a blue moon. That's not money that that's not money you're going to lose, by the way, because what you're doing is you're just avoiding promising massive amounts of your time to that person for tract home type money. Like if you got a social mobile platform, we've got Kyle's almost got our next 2 theme templates loaded up. I'm making example sites for those. So you would be able to say, I sell these 4 mobile websites. I can do this and that within reason. I can put like a picture, your logo, some text, your phone number, your video, yada, yada. But it's got to be these 4. And I can't change the color of anything. Okay? If you'll do that, this is going to start working for real. It's going to start working fast, and it's going to start working much, much better. Let's go over what we've learned today. Choose one thing to sell. And do it the same way. Okay, that's actually skip down to number 3. So like I want to use an example besides mobile websites. Let's say Google Places, directory optimization, or all those other directory optimizations. Boil it down to where you do it the same way each time. I have the name and place. Okay, so the business name, the address, phone number. Okay, business name, address, phone number. I got a blurb about the business. You give me up to five photos. You give me up to 2 videos. You fill out all that stuff. You claim the listing. They either mail you the postcard or mail the business postcard or call the business, whatever. But you do all that stuff the exact same way every time. You're limiting the client's choice, but the client really only cares about money coming in the door. They don't care about choice. Okay, they just care about cash. So if you will link what you're selling back to a growing bottom line, they're not going to ask you if you can build them a fuchsia-colored website anyway. But Lee, what if they want something else? They have to get it somewhere else. Okay, here's one. Here's one. The real word for what I'm about to say is called opportunity cost. Okay? The bottom line is when you sell something as an offline marketer, when you sell something to a business, yeah, they gave you money, but you've also promised a certain amount of your time and your expertise to that business. That means that time, that energy is taken out of your life for getting other business, for talking to other business people, for making more cold calls, sending out more mailers, sending out more emails, going to more stupid network meetings, et cetera, et cetera. And you promised it to this business owner. So the question is, if you've got a person if you sold something to someone, you promised them the moon and you're going to do this and that, and it's going to be polka dotted and all this stuff, you're giving them a massive amount of time that you're not getting paid value for value for, because you could actually make money if you took most of that time and put it on finding more business. So in other words, it's called opportunity cost, and you don't have the scales balanced in your favor. Okay, they're way too balanced toward the business owner that's going to take up more of your time. You'll be better off if you just say, "I'm sorry, we don't do that." A really good way of saying that, instead of "I hate you and I don't want your money," which is not good. It's not good to spread energy like that around, and certainly wouldn't want to say that to somebody. That was kind of an exaggeration, but I think you know where I'm coming from. A really good way to tell people that is, unfortunately, my team can't do that. That's a good way to kind of like put it off on the team. That also kind of builds you up. I mean, you have a team. Anybody who has access to Fiverr has a team, by the way. So if you think that, gee, Lee, I don't have a team. Well, look, you buy a Fiverr gig, you've got a team. Okay, so unfortunately, my team doesn't do that. The reason that I can sell this to you for this amount of money compared to what somebody else could sell you something really cool like this for is because we've got it all boiled down to, just the nuts and bolts. I can sell you these 4 websites. Your logo, your video, your whatever. These things I can change. The 4 websites I can't change. The 6 websites I can't change. Okay, and you'll end up making a lot more money because you're going to have massively focused effort. Now, you need to do this. If you haven't done it already, you need to do this for 10 deals, 10 sales, 10 clients. 10's the magic number, because by the time you reach 10, 1, 2, or 3 won't work because you'll just get unfocused and then it'll quit working. But if you will do 10, that's enough to where you can start thinking about this as a pattern that you can control, manipulate, tweak, change, replace, whatever. 10's the number. Okay, only after 10 should you start messing around with this and saying, okay, well, Lee said 10. I've sold 10 mobile websites now. I wonder if I could add something else to that. Videos and video ranking. Only after 10 should you be thinking about it. Okay, I mean, at some point you want to think that because you can make massively more money, but now may not be the time. And before 10, if you haven't done 10, it's definitely not time. You need to focus on making something happen. If you boil this down to where it's really, really simple, you can make that happen. You got it? That is what today's webinar is all about. I enjoyed telling you that massively. I hope that you enjoyed learning it. So, quick questions. I don't want, it's the weekend before Christmas. I don't want to take up a whole ton of your time. I really, really, really appreciate you here. And I know in my heart the winners are here, because the winners do the things that the other people just refuse to do. So, I'm not going to sit here and just, jabber on and on and on. But if you have a pressing question, I would love to to, I would love to answer it. Ockert says this is exactly what he needed. Can you read minds? Ockert, it's not a matter of reading minds. No, according to my wife, Ockert, I cannot read minds, or at least I can't read hers, okay? Here's the deal. It's not a matter of reading minds. It's a matter of just being farther up the trail. That's it. We're climbing a mountain. There are people up the trail way farther than me, and I have the same relationship to them that a lot of you guys have to me and AJ. I buy stuff from them. It generally costs a lot more, but like a business consultant that we hired for our business, it's a person who's massively far up the trail, and it makes sense for me to pay that person because it's kind of like they can save me from wrong turns, from running around in circles, from reinventing the wheel. So, Ockert, it's not a matter of reading minds. It's a matter of me sitting down and thinking, okay, what things did I do wrong, which were tons of them. Most of the stuff I tried didn't work. I'm just so persistent that the stuff that did work actually ended up working and adding up to where it was working really well. But it's just a matter of me just sort of distilling what I went through and just saying, hey, going to the left of this trail is probably not going to work because I did that. It took me days to get back to the trail. I think you should go to the right. That's a much better way of doing it. That's all it is, Ockert. Cool. I'm glad I could help you out. Anybody got anything else that I can address? Issues, anything like that? If not, I'm going to stop the recording, and I will have this up somewhere, and I'll just email it out to you guys, and you can take a look at it at your leisure. So we good to go? Awesome. Thank you so much. AJ, I really appreciate your business. Ockert, you have a very blessed and peaceful Christmas, too. We deeply, deeply appreciate your the belief that you showed in us at one point of buying something of ours, which is how you ended up on our list. So thank you very much, and you have a wonderful Christmas, wonderful end of the year.